Hello, and welcome back to episode 5 of Benjy's Cafe podcast. Joining me this week is the comedian, actor, and digital creator Richard Franks. Richard's online work has built him an audience of 1.6 million followers through his viral comedy sketches and characters, including The Wonderful Mum and hit series Teaching Gen Z Shakespeare. His writing has seen him winning the British Comedy Guide's Pro Video Contest for Best Comedy Sketch, and most recently, he has been shortlisted for the Comedy Crowd's Chorts Award with his character Neville Grimace. Richard's work has been showcased on BBC Upload, BBC Spotlight and Capital Radio, and he has also co-written and starred in CBeebies Spotbots and Justin's House. And Richard is now a regular co-creator with ITV, working on their upcoming titles. Phew, he's one busy bee. It's a jam-packed episode. We discuss Richard's online viral success, overcoming the fear of failure and staying true to one style in the creative process, plus managing anxiety and burnout in the pursuit of happiness.
But in my head I had this really strange logic that I was like, oh, one day if I get this and maybe I'll get that, then I'll relax and be happy, you know. And so what I've now done is I found this place where I am genuinely the happiest I've ever been. Honestly, I'm reaching such a lovely place now where I'm doing the work that I love and I'm reaching people, and it's great. That's what I've always wanted to do. It feels even better because it's kind of on my terms, I've kind of done it myself, and that's just amazing.
He is funny, he's lovely, he's fuffly. This will be a chuckle. Welcome to Benjy's Cafe podcast, Richard Franks. Good morning, Richard. How are you?
Hello, Ben. I'm very well. Thank you for having me. And what an introduction. Can you just follow me around and introduce me like that absolutely everywhere I go? I'll take it because I love the attention, but do you know what I mean? It's just... what an intro. Thank you, my very now dear friend.
Rich, it's so lovely to have you on Benjy's Cafe podcast. Thank you so much. And firstly, congratulations. You've just been shortlisted for the Comedy Crowd TV Chorts Awards, haven't you?
Yeah, that's so exciting. So what's amazing with that is it's so lovely to try a character out online, to the people, and then actually get it into a comedy competition, and suddenly it's like, okay, this is being looked at now, not just being viewed broadly online. This is now being judged, and it's nice to see your work sort of track its progress, but I'm really, really excited. And I can't wait to see where that goes.
I think people can vote online, is that right?
Yeah, so there's obviously there is a judging panel that judge it on the day, but up until then there is an Audience Choice Award. That's where all you listeners at home come in, if you're listening in time, of course.
Get on it, guys, get on it.
Go and like a YouTube video or whatever it was,
Well, it's Neville Grimace, isn't it? The fireworks safety officer, fantastic character. We'll dip into Mum and the teacher later, but you touched there. I'm going to dive in with it. How crazy is it when you have an idea to think, right, I'm going to turn that idea into a script, into a written format, and then film it, and then see it up online, getting appreciated, getting enjoyed, getting laughed at. Is that amazing?
It is. Do you know what? It's a huge mixture of emotions, because it is amazing and it is brilliant, because you think, I've made that's something I've created, and I've taken it and I've put it out there. But it's also terrifying, because especially with a new character, you make yourself so vulnerable, and you're throwing yourself to the wolves, and you're just hoping that it is received well. Touch wood, the Neville Grimace character was received well, and there's more of him to come. I think there's a lot of scenarios I can put him in. So for anyone who hasn't watched him, he's like a one-man neighbourhood watch. He's a bit. I think there's a touch of the Frank Spencer in him. I grew up being a big Norman Wisdom fan, and I think there's just those little kind of nods to my sort of heroes. Yeah, and I think I can just get him out, and I want to get him out in the community now. Do you know what I mean? Measuring, measuring pavements and things like that. I think we can have a lot of fun with him.
And when you look forward to the future of a character, do you go on the success of initial 1, 2, or 3 videos, or do you have a plot line already in your head, kind of where you do want it to head to?
Yeah, I always have a progression in my head. I think, right, this is where we're started. This is where this character could go. And then I always know within a couple of days of putting a new character online, I roughly know if it's gone down well. Likes aren't everything. That's what I tell myself. But it's likes and engagement. The internet has ways of telling you, sometimes incredibly bluntly, but they'll let you know. But yes, you can gauge the sort of the general feeling. It's a great place to test things out, really, the internet.
Well,
Terrifying, but brilliant.
it's being brave, isn't it? I had
Yeah.
comedian and actor Jane Sharp was on the podcast in series
yeah.
1, but likewise she's posting online, and it is what a great format, and it's wonderful, isn't it, that there's that format to try ideas. Initially, is that quite daunting? The first few ideas you have when you press right, let's get it out there, is like just waiting for that feedback. It must be quite a nerve-wracking experience initially.
Honestly, Ben, is terrifying, especially when you first start out, because you just don't know the reaction you're going to get. You don't know how many people you're going to get. There's that horrible fear of failure as well, which is something I've been working on for years to get over. That I must, because get rid of the fear of failure. So what if one thing flops? So what? Use it as a stepping stone. Carry on, crack on. That didn't work. Okay, fine, let's move. Because that horrible fear of failure just holds you back, and and it's worse if you don't have a go. Do you know what I mean? Isn't it? It's so I've had to get over that pretty quick, because otherwise it just doesn't work on the internet. You just have to be bold and and go for it.
I think that's such a good, fantastic point, Richard. Since I became alcohol free, it's like I've sort of developed a fearlessness almost, and that fear of failure, it can be crippling, can't it? But there is, I think the worst thing you can do is have a great idea or a great thought. I want to write this piece of music or write this piece of literature, whatever it is, whatever you do, just to give it a go, because you just don't know, do you? And I think it's awful if you're sort of anchored by kind of defeat before you've even tried. It's a real balance, isn't it?
Well, there's always, whenever you create anything, like you say, literature, sketches, scripts, whatever you're doing, there is that fear in your head. There's that little voice that goes, what if people don't like it? But I always say to myself now, well, what's worse? I put it out and some people don't like it, or I forever question, was it good? Was it worth doing? And I'll never know. And that to me is more scary now. So I think it's, I encourage myself to push myself a little bit, put myself out of my comfort zone, within reason.
Yeah.
Just, say no to that fear of failure.
Yeah. Well, my goodness, you should be so proud of yourself. 1.6 million followers, Richard. You're so funny. And I hope you appreciate how many people you make happy. Do you take stock of that, or is it just a case of, right, I've got to get the next video out, or do you must embrace that success that you're having, because it's how lovely you're making a difference to people's days by creating a little chuckle, which is great.
That is genuinely very lovely to hear. I think I have to remind myself of that, because when obviously, from my end, obviously it is like a business as well, and it's content production and writing scripts and sketches constantly, so I can get swept away with it. I do think, when's the next video come in, etc. And how many days has it been? I tell you what's really lovely is sometimes I'll get messages from people which remind me, especially I'll get messages from parents that say, just wanted to say, we love that we can sit down with our children and watch your videos. Not all videos online are like that, so we can all have a laugh together. I really like that. That's a really lovely reminder, and it makes me think, oh, okay, I'm on the right track here, because that's kind of the audience I want. I like that family, just a little something for everyone. That's
I love that as well, because it's like the modern day kind of scenario. Like with my family, we used to watch Morecambe and Wise, the two Ronnies, but how lovely that you've got that audience that you're targeting, and they're warming to your work, because how lovely they can, it's, of course, they're all genres of comedy, but how lovely you're providing content that everyone can enjoy. I think that's great.
Absolutely. And I think there is a trend at the moment as well. It's very easy to slip into the sort of the templates, the ready-made templates of online creation as well. There are a lot of videos you watch where it's kind of like there is like a template for sort of online comedy, which can grow your audience incredibly quickly because it's kind of expected. But I've sort of from the off gone, I'm not going to do that. I said, that doesn't come naturally to me, and I'm just going to do my thing, and then I'll just slowly lay breadcrumbs, and I'll bring people over. And I guess I am a bit old school, really, when you think about in essence what I do, the characters and the sketches. But I love it, and that's just my natural style. That is that sort of. I like to build characters, and I want people to buy into them. I want people to come into the world, suspend their disbelief for a bit, come on in.
And I love the fact that you're just being true to yourself. Like you say, with social media, you see templates, you think you should follow, that you're encouraged to follow because you see people getting that instant success. But I applaud you for being true to yourself and how you want your work to develop, because it takes a real confidence, I think. It's so easy to think, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, when you get the feedback from being true to your ethos of work and how you want it to go. That is the buzz, isn't it?
That's it, because when you do get the rewards from what you're doing, and when you've stuck to your guns and you're doing it your way, the feeling is just fantastic. Like, you just think, yes, it can be a harder path, because like I said, especially with online creation, there's been times when I've gone, maybe I should just do a dance, I'll just do a one of these viral things, and maybe that'll work. I mean, in height, I say that I don't think that'd be the making of me in the slightest. Anyone that's worked with me on a show and had to teach me choreography will vouch for that. But it's true, though. You stick to your guns, and like you say, and then it feels better than when you get the reward.
Oh God, the sight of you and me dancing, Richard. I think we should give it a go. Crikey!
I'll make exceptions. Absolutely, Ben. We'll come on over and we'll do a TikTok. We'll do a dance. Do you know what? Considering that's half of my livelihood. I'm I'm a terrible TikToker, let me tell you.
I first saw you in Panto a few years ago, and you were so great in that. Is it tough? What I admire is that you've had the balls to push your own work, to be brave, to get it out there. I know a lot of people, myself included, who have some good ideas, but they never come to fruition. You sort of on a treadmill of, auditioning, hopefully a panto every year, and just letting these good ideas go to waste. Did you always think, right, I'm going to use this as a platform to build my confidence, and then to use the time I do have to get your work out there?
That's a really interesting question, actually, Ben. It's almost like you've done this before, isn't it? No, that's a great question. I think there was a moment, and I'm trying to think when that moment was, when I sort of thought, because obviously, like you say, did the pantos. I mean, I did pantos for a lot of years, and various live shows and stuff. But my heart's always been with sketch comedy and characters, and so I think lockdowns got lockdown plays a big part in this. When I thought, what's going to get me to where I kind of want to be, a little bit media based, kind of on screens, albeit mobile phone screens. I'll take it. And so I think there was a moment when I thought, I'm going to have to start making my own work now, and I'm going to have to start working for myself. And as grateful and appreciative as I am for all the jobs, that I've been given over the years, I think it was terrifying. It was really, and I'm an anxious person, really. So making that step and just making that new sort of branch of my career was nerve-wracking, especially, in the earlier days. But I did think, I was like, I'm going to have to start doing my own thing now, and I'm going to make myself these opportunities, and I'm going to carve my own space in this rock, and I'm just not going to stop. So that's my philosophy. Just win by just being there. Just don't ever. Just if you just don't go away, someone will have to. Someone has to notice you if you're standing in the way. So. But
I think it's so interesting that you do eventually find your own happy, don't you? You find your own kind of comfortable place within the business, within life, where you've got that balance. And it's funny because for years I was touring. I love the buzz of getting a job, but the reality of 8 shows a week, I was like, Of course, it was a lovely position to be in. You travel, you're entertaining people, you're making people happy, but it's just knowing that you're not going to get to your final destination immediately, are you? It takes a while to find your niche, and I think it's so lovely to have the bravery to kind of go for it.
Yeah, and I tell you, actually, Ben, you've just touched on something really important there. For ages, I had in my head that I was like, I haven't made it yet, but one day I'll make it and I'll be happy, and one day I'll make it, I'll be happy. And then after a few years, you start to think, hang on a minute, I need to start being happy now. Like, I need to start, and I don't want to sound pretentious, but you're like, hang on, I need to start enjoying the process a bit more, because this is a big part of it. Like, this is, but in my head I had this really strange logic that I was like, one day if I get this and maybe I'll get that, then I'll relax and be happy, and so what I've now done is I found this place where I am genuinely the happiest I've, ever been, honestly. And I know, and it's not often I would have been able to say that. Do you know what I mean? You know, but I'm reaching such a lovely place now where I'm doing the work that I love, and I'm reaching people, you know, and it's great. That's what I've always wanted to do. And and like we touched on earlier, it feels even better because it's kind of on my terms. You know, I've kind of done it myself, and that's just amazing. And I would urge anyone to just, you know, if you've got that little idea, if you've got that little voice in your head saying, wouldn't mind doing that, just do it, because what is the worst that can happen?
Yeah, 100%, Richard. I think it's great. Are there any sort of little mechanisms you use and did use besides your work that got you to that happy place? For me, it was cutting out alcohol. It reduced my anxiety. It was being more open with people, with friends and family, you know, talking, and you know, these little things really help me now enjoy the little things in life which buoy me up to go for it, whatever it is.
Yeah, so many things. So I mean, I'm constantly like, I'm so in my own head, you know, I think a million things in 60 seconds. So part of it was just to and it sounds so obvious, but like just sort of getting my thoughts in order, like, you know, and also like, and I'm going to say it, and I don't like hearing it out loud, but I am going to say it, being kind to yourself, right? Because I was, for a while, was like my own worst enemy. Like, I'd put a video out and go, that was awful, Richard. Like, what, you know, or how could you edit it like that? Or how could you do this? How could you do that? And then I mean, we've spoken before, Ben, and I said that I do weekly counselling. Best thing I've ever done. I just have this weekly MOT. Do you know what I mean? And I just, I get everything out, and I vent, and it's, and I do tend, as many of us do, I tend to lean towards the negative, and now I'm just starting to bring myself round, and I'm like, but what about these positives, you know? So I'm more open now. I talk about things. There would have been a time, Ben, when I probably wouldn't have even admitted I was having weekly counselling. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm so proud of it now, and look, this is the thing. I'm proud, and I'm feeling good, and it just provides a good platform to, you kind of want to start shouting about it, really.
Yeah, so, completely.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like likewise. I've had, you know, 3-4 bouts of therapy in the past through tough times, but I'm really proud of having, as a bloke, especially having the balls, quite literally, well, mine pretty small balls in my case. I can't believe I just said that. To go for therapy.
We're all friends here, Ben. It's all right. We won't start comparing. It'll end in tears. I don't know whose tears, but yeah.
That'll be the bonus episode, Richard.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but yeah, and it's like being...
when you say boners, sorry, carry on. I'm here all week. Come on, let's go.
I love it. Bum, bum, bum.
Sorry.
But yeah, just going...
Get me back in panto.
And just going, speaking to somebody who's non-judgmental, and it's exactly, you're clearing out your angst, your mind, your soul, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's a reboot, and I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of so many of the things that I put in place to be happy. And what I find really interesting that you touched on earlier, Richard, is when you do get praise and feedback, initially it's like, how do I cope with this? But it's like, no, you've worked bloody hard to be happy, to be in a good mindset, to create this work, to make people happy. But it is, I don't know if it's a male thing, but it's so hard to appreciate and embrace, isn't it?
It really is. And you're right. It is inherently male to not want to, and it took me a long time. It's been a difficult journey to talk about it. Like I used to, like I never used to say I had counselling sessions. I used to say like on the calendar, like my calendar, like meetings. I've got a meeting, you know, or I've got an appointment. You know, I never used to. It's taken a long time, and it is hard. It's so hard, but there is that kind of light at the end, you know. And also, I don't want to make it sound like I'm finished and I'm completed mental health. You know, I'm done. But it's But no, you know, feeling so good, you know, and I think it's a big step to go, I don't feel right, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to feel right. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of people don't get that far, you know, so it's
and it's a brilliant thing. There is help there, 100%. Things are always going to get better, even if you're taking little small baby steps, be it, you know, a bit of fresh air every day, a bit of a walk, you know, some counselling. It's there, and you don't have to be ashamed, and the benefits are just wonderful, and you can start to feel yourself and be able to relax when you can as well.
Well, it's little things like, you know, I think, because obviously there are various stigmas or expectations of counselling, but it's so different for everyone. And I think there's like half of my appointments, half of my meetings, God, I'm going backwards. Half of my sessions are, just like, I was just carrying so much stuff that wasn't even mine to carry. Like, I mean, it's like, what are you worrying about that for? That is literally quite literally somebody else's problem.
I'm the king of worrying about other people's issues.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's like, I'll carry that for you. Yeah, I'll take that. I'll absorb that anxiety for you. And it's just about shedding that off. And anyway, it's good. And I think And the way I work now, of course, online, obviously I have the potential to reach an awful lot of people in a very short space of time, thousands in the space of an hour. And of course, when you open yourself up to that many people, and we know what the internet's like. I mean, the internet is, I have a love-hate relationship with the internet. I think it's brilliant. I think the resources we have at our disposal are fantastic. And also things for free. Let's face it, these apps that I've now built a career on, these sites are free to access. It's astonishing. However, there is obviously the internet, and the internet reaches you to people, and people are hit and miss. So it's, there is a big downside. So you do have to look after your brain, and keep yourself strong, keep yourself built up, because it can be a brutal arena to work in,
Yeah. You should be so proud of the work you've done, Richard. Your comedy, your writing, but also on yourself, just to feel comfortable in yourself and to feel happy. And then, it's such a lovely springboard for getting your stuff out there and trying stuff and being brave.
This is 100%. And like I said earlier on, like to anybody, or like with you, Ben, you've started this podcast, you know what I mean, at a time of perhaps uncertainty, you thought, I'm going to make something, I'm going to reach people, I'm going to talk, and I'm going to spread a positive message, and that's what it's all about. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but you've just got to do it. You know what I mean? You've got to just push yourself out there. And you're right. You might fly, you might fall, but you get up and you go for it again. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you know, but I think I mentioned in a couple of episodes on Series 1, Richard, but during lockdown and just afterwards, I worked at Neville Hall, wonderful place, which is an actor's retirement home.
Oh, right.
The staff there are amazing, but wonderful characters, actors, musicians.
I bet the stories,
Oh, honestly, just wonderful.
Yeah.
But what I learnt there, and talking to these beautiful older people, especially from the creative world as well, was just the things that I can sweat about or used to. It just doesn't matter. And that really kind of was another little pin drop in my head to be brave and to go for it, like you say, because nothing bad can happen.
I think that's such a good point, Ben, because I think, well, actually, this applies to any industry, but of course, we, coming from a performing industry especially, I think I've got this theory that you have to take everything you do, you have to take it all seriously, but at the same time, take nothing seriously, because it is ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you a little story quickly, because I have a pivotal moment when I realised this. So I was called in for a casting for a commercial, right? And it was an online betting shop commercial. One of them. One of the ones that was known. They're known for being a bit funny adverts, right?
Yeah. Anyways, I think I might have just done a self-tape for the same company.
Probably they are.
I have a hunch.
Probably.
Yeah.
So this one I get called into. First of all, my casting was I get called in because they're looking for. Now, what was it? Was it distinguished with unconventional look? You could. I'll always be there if it says something like unconventionally good looking. Like, do you know what I mean? Quirky and whatever. Anyway, so I go in and basically they're looking for jockeys because I'm only 5'5", so straight away if there's a jockey casting, they're like, he's short, get him in, right? So they were looking for jockeys, and we all had to sit in a sauna, right? And so we had to take our own towel for the casting. So in the lobby, we all have to get changed into just nothing but the towel, right? We get taken in groups of 5 or 6. We're all sitting there, but a room full of strangers sitting there in nothing but a towel. And then the casting director is like, so in this campaign, you're all sitting in the sauna, and then suddenly this robot horse comes in and lasers your nipples with his eyes, right? No. And we all just sat there, and of course, and you go with it because you do, don't you? You're in a casting and you literally do, And so he's pretending, he's like, I'm going to be the robot horse and I'm lasering your nipples. And there's a moment when I'm sitting there in a towel and I'm looking around at all these adults, and I went, this is ridiculous. Like, this is ridiculous. Yeah. And that's all I had to do was sit there. I didn't get the part. Apparently, my nipples were lasered in not correctly. Maybe I just didn't have the right look. But it was honestly, Ben, it was that moment then and there that I went, I'll always turn up. I'll always give it 100%.
Yeah.
But you cannot take this seriously.
Of course, you
No.
can turn up. You can take the work seriously, the job, and appreciate it in other people.
That's it. Always be grateful. Always be grateful for the work.
Yeah.
However, but this is kind of ties into what we were saying earlier. You just can't. How could you take that seriously? Do you know what I mean? You just, I think, take everything with a massive pinch of salt and be
oh God,
what will be, will be. You know.
I know. Well, your sketches are doing so well online. Are there any, despite that success, are there any days where you just, for some reason, I sometimes get some anxiety out of the blue where, for no reason, I just feel like shit and just like, oh, and that's when I have to go for a jog or a plod. And do you ever have that? And if so, how do you kind of just pull yourself out of that? I just have to get outside and just sit in that moment almost.
Yeah, no, I do, and I get burnout really, really quickly. I think because I'm trying to cook up a lot of ideas in one go, and my brain just gets tired. I do so I have joined the gym now. I do try and keep myself active because as well when I work on videos mostly just at home. Sometimes I think, oh my God, I haven't been out today or I haven't been out in 2 days. Do you know what I mean? And I need to just reconnect to the world. Plug myself back in. So I absolutely go for walks and I go to the gym when I can. And stuff because I do get a burnout.
Can you feel it coming? Can you feel that feeling coming?
Strangely, I can because if I haven't put a video out for a few days, I start getting a bit antsy because there's that little voice that goes, "Oh, we're falling behind. Come on, there's someone else that's done a video every day, whatever." And again, I'm working on that because that is not a healthy voice,
Yeah.
And I am getting a handle on that, and I'm so much better than I was. But it absolutely happens that I get burnt out, and then of course I think I'll have a rest today. But then there's that other part of you that says, "Well, but you haven't done anything today."
Yeah,
and
it's so hard to navigate that, isn't it? My goodness.
And I think because it is on me, this is the double-edged sword of producing completely your own work and working for yourself is, of course, when somebody gives you a job, you have a schedule and you turn up and you work, etc. But the way I work, it is just all on me. So I can't, I have to make my own schedule, and sometimes that goes well and sometimes it doesn't. So it's but I do get quite serious burnout, and it's just about picking myself up and say, right, tomorrow's a new day, tomorrow's fresh, start again,
Yeah, that's a good mindset. And is there added pressure when you're creating content? You collaborate a lot with big companies now. Is that an added pressure to get it right?
It is, I guess, it is an added pressure, but it's also a huge compliment. When a company comes to you and says, look, we love this character, we really think we can work well together. And also a lot of companies now are coming round to the idea that they've sort of realised that actually comedy really sells well. I can advertise them better than a shiny presenter going, hi, if you'd like this bottle of, window clean. Was actually if you organically embed it in effectively a sketch. You know what I mean? And it's slowly the word's getting about,
And I've got to say, your character, Mum, Richard, lends itself so wonderfully to so many products, so many brands.
I know.
What was the spark for that? And its success, lit hundreds of thousands of views. That's kind of mind blowing?
It is. It is mind blowing, and it's been a strange old journey. This character, Mum. I mean, and I never intended for it to go on this far, It's just been encouraged by people. It is a funny old thing. People. I get invited to mum Facebook groups and things. People. I don't know. Sort of people forget. Sort of that I'm just this sort of daft little bald fella, that's just winging it really. But no, it's lovely. It is lovely to have a character that has been sort of welcomed into people's homes. I get messages people saying oh, Mum works on different levels because the kids think I'm mocking the parents because they think that's funny, but actually, parents, we all kind of know that the kids are being sort of there's something for everyone, That so it's but it's been a great thing, It started in lockdown. I found an old wig in a cupboard. You know what I mean? And started and thought, maybe I'll do something about a mum, And then it just I remember the first time overnight when I woke up and my first mum video had gone viral,
Oh,
and
my word, had it?
and I thought my phone had broken. It was really strange. Like, it was a strange thing, and I thought, well, I'll try one more. I'll see if I can maybe get to out of it.
Yeah.
And here we are, like 5 years later, or whatever it's been, or something ridiculous, and it's just still going,
Oh, it's fantastic.
So, the motto of my career is literally, I've never ever known what's around the corner. So, who knows, Ben?
But how exciting is that, though?
I kind of love it.
It's quite hard to explain to non-creatives, isn't it? But that excitement, it's always lovely to know it's there in, somewhere when there are lower times, when you're ploughing away, auditioning, or trying to create new content and good content, and that it's always there. It can just change like that, can't it?
I know.
But having said that, though, like you still got a great work ethic, haven't you? Because as you've said, you've still got to get your stuff out there on a regular basis, I imagine. Yeah,
I can never rest on my laurels. Like, I've got to always keep going, because like I said earlier on, the internet's great, but there is that downside. And obviously, if you do pause, the world keeps spinning, whether you're with it or not. So you do have to keep the pace up, and also, but I love doing the mum character, and I love thinking about new characters that I could try and introduce, and slip in every now and then.
Well, the Shakespeare teacher, the Romeo and Juliet. Oh my word! Another huge hit.
Well, that was mad, because, and also that threw me into a completely different kind of game, because all of a sudden I had like academics looking at me, so then my videos, the Shakespeare Gen Zs were the Shakespeare Trust got in touch with me and said, we'd like to debate this. Like to debate this in that kind of meeting, and I was like, no, that, like, because you're all like, and I'm a ball bloke going, oh, Hamlet ate and left no crumbs, and giving it the Gen Z, and it was anyway, but there was a big debate and articles, and so it really launched me into this other place I didn't expect to be. And I only did it because I'd done a lot of mum videos, and I thought, I get an itch for something new. I go, right, come on, I want to flex a different comedy muscle or whatever.
Did it surprise you, the speed of your success because of social media?
Yes is the answer. Because obviously I'd always worked, I'd been an actor of sorts for years, actor, comedian, whatever job I'm going for at the time, whatever I needed to describe myself as, but I'd been that for years, but obviously performing live for years. So, and obviously there's a pace you kind of find yourself in working live, like you say, maybe a panto each year, whatever. Yeah. But then suddenly moving over into this online world, things move quickly, and I wasn't prepared for that. Like, I wish, it's hard to prepare yourself for it, really. There's not a handbook, you just have to make your mistakes, and I have made my mistakes, but yes, it's surprising when it's strange, because also there was a lot of time where I was uploading things online with no success, that's a bad phrase, really, or just to little engagement, whatever. And then suddenly, you just get that one, and then you go, oh, here we go, and it's the ride started, and it's arms in the air, screaming all the way around. You know what I mean? So,
it's that moment, I imagine, isn't it, where you think it can be so on a knife edge, can't it? Like your confidence levels and creativity. It's like when you get that. It's funny how one little nugget of information or feedback, and suddenly it's like, right, I'm flying. I feel good. I'm going for it.
Honestly, the highs and the lows can come like from 1 hour to the next, and I mean, and you'll know this, Ben, because I think when you've got a creative brain and you want to work for performing for people, we all have that. We all ride that sort of roller coaster with the ups and downs, but it's
completely.
It can be intense, and this is why now I'm so open about I have the weekly counselling, because it's very unnatural to have to be in a job where the highs and the lows can be so drastic. So really, I mean, anyone's brain would occasionally like burn out a bit with that.
Well, the highs and the lows in this game are ridiculous, aren't they? I've gone from a good part in theatre to to literally nothing, digging holes for a builder friend, you know, which I'm actually so grateful for, and character building. You know, you never know who you can meet in those scenarios, but
agreed, yeah.
But it's tough, and it's, you know, getting that balance, and maybe that's why over the years I sort of turned to fosters as opposed to going to speak to somebody. So
I think that, yes, yeah, absolutely. I think if you've got that inner strength to just go, I don't feel quite right here, like, you know, I don't feel myself, you know, and then that's the time to just you know, go for it. And so was that your crutch? So I was just saying, because obviously you don't drink anymore, do you?
Yeah, no, I don't. I stopped almost 2 years alcohol free.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you, Richard. I wouldn't say it was my crutch, but increasingly I was drinking more because I was, you know what, I was just exhausted and burnt out in my life.
Yeah.
But how funny to take, you know, a can of beer, another can of beer to try and make yourself feel better was the worst thing I could have done. And it just suppressed all that stress and burnout. And so the best thing, for me, the best thing I've done is cut it out, because like yourself now, you're flying. I'm the true version of myself who actually is all right.
Oh, I like that true version of yourself.
Yeah,
like
do you know what I mean?
Print that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We'll get them out there for sure. But it's like, I'm the true version of me, which actually is all right. It's the good version. It's the brave version. It's the creative version who isn't afraid of just giving stuff a go.
Yeah. Oh, yes. There's so much to be said for that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, and you're so right. And again as well, I find that when you work in theatre, it can be quite sociable work, can't it? And there's always a drink after work. There's always you can really just, you know.
And the irony now is I'm more sociable than I've ever been. I was at a wedding on Sundays and had a wonderful time as before. I'd just be thinking, oh God, you know, where's the bar? Where's the next drink? Chuck, you know, pass the Merlot over. Where actually I was engaged. I was making connections and and like you are now in life, just sitting in that lovely place where you're comfortable and happy in life. It's so comfortable, isn't it? It's lovely.
There's just so much to be said for being comfortable in your own skin. Do you know what I mean? You think, you know, Ben, life is short, and you've got to just find your quickest route to happiness, haven't you? Really?
Yeah.
And then embrace it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you're certainly doing that, Richard. I love it. You're glowing. It's fantastic.
Stop it.
No, it's great. I absolutely love it. So, like, do you have like a schedule to your week for your work, or literally is it case like you might wake up and think, that's it, new idea, let's go?
That's sort of all of that. I do try and make a schedule. I do, because I do try and stop myself now. Like when it gets to the evening, I'm like, right, I'm not gonna check.
That's important as well.
Yeah. So like, as if I've clocked off for the night, because it's very easy. You know, all my work's on my phone, and I can check all the time. So I try and have a point of the evening where I'm like, no, I'm not working anymore. It's quite hard because, annoyingly, and this is very frustrating, I get my ideas just sort of zap into my head at all strange hours. You know, like it'll be an evening, it'll be late, and I think that's, for example, like, I could do a comedy fireworks safety video, and I could do a whole, you know, blah 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 blah, and like with Neville, and I will have to run, and I'll scribble it down, and I think, but I'll do it tomorrow. I'll come to that tomorrow. My week looks a bit strange, but I do try and structure it. It is important, and I'm someone that does need structure, or I do just drift off. I do just drift off. You know, I'm can be quite whimsical. And
you're a busy chap. My goodness, you're a busy chap, Richard. You make literally hundreds and thousands of people chuckle daily. I just wondered, what makes you chuckle? Be it comedy or just something you might see on the street or a moment in the day.
What an excellent question. Obviously, you know, I love my comedy. I'm a bit old school. Like I do love my sort of like my Norman Wisdoms and my my Frank Spencers. Some others do have them. You know, they hold such a place in my heart. You know, I just, oh God, do you know, I laugh at anything. No, I mean, I love people watching. I do love people. I do. And
it should be an Olympic sport, shouldn't it? I think
you can just sit and watch people, and you know, or you'll be in a supermarket or sitting at a train station, and because people are funny, and I tell you who I find the funniest is people who are hilarious but have no idea they are. Do you know what I mean? Like they have no idea how truly funny they are, and borderline, if you wrote them exactly how they are in a sitcom, no one would believe it. They'd say, "Oh, this isn't real." No one would be like this. But occasionally, you find these people in life, and I do. When you find a little gem like that, so I do like to find the comedy just in people. It sounds like I'm saying I just laugh at people, and I do, but but you just got to wear a big scarf so they can't see you.
Yeah, mine's a big fake beard. If you see me walking around Liverpool, that's me. Just laughing at people.
The shoulders are going.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. There's a lot of funny stuff out there. But my roots as well, Ben, were like really sort of physical comedy. I it's sort of like Rick Mayall, Edmondson. Kind of
fantastic.
Like Bottom, and it was just that. I love it. I love a bit of physical comedy, and I think it's nice. I think it's coming back round. I think like full circle. We're getting more. I think things are getting a bit more physical. And I think as well, a lot of online content. And I won't take this too deep, but obviously when I work online now. A lot of videos that do very well actually are often like kind of simple physical jokes, like people doing something funny with a caption, which arguably is just like silent comedy. I'm not saying that TikTok is the new age Charlie Chaplin, but I'm just saying.
You're right.
Maybe because I have this interest that I look for these things, but I do think like I think physical comedy is still very much a big part of our lives.
Richard, it's been so lovely to have you in Benjy's Cafe podcast today. I admire your work, I admire you as a person, and I admire you for being so open about just asking for help, because sometimes we all need a bit of help, don't we, when life's tough.
Yeah, that's it. Life is tough. It's okay to not be okay. And if you need something fixing, and if it happens to be your brain, get it fixed and get back on track. Do you know what I mean? It's really as simple as that. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but it's as simple as that. But no, thank you for inviting me on. I've had a blooming lovely time. It's lovely to chat to you.
Hey, honestly, you've made me so happy, as well as your 1.6 million followers. My goodness.
Oh, gosh.
You've put a huge smile on my face today. And honestly, thanks so much for joining me.
Ben, you're an absolute star. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the brilliant Richard Franks. It's so good to talk. Don't forget, a fresh new episode of Benjy's Cafe podcast drops every Tuesday. Just find us wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a follow so every episode gets sent straight to your phone. Tell your friends, tell your family, and if you can, please leave a review. In episode 6, I'll be joined by the actor Lucy L. Cliff, a beautiful soul. I'll get the kettle on. Have a great day.